You've seen the Stony End Disco on TV. You've heard of us on the radio. Now experience the Stony End for yourself with the best laser light shows and disco sounds anywhere. The Stony End packs them in 7 nights a week with dance shows, special dollar nights, surprise events, and the Stony End Cafe with disco breakfast until 5 a.m. And don't forget, every Saturday and Sunday is teen disco time. Take exit 105 off the Garden State Parkway to Long Branch or call 201-229-5710.
Disco singer Linda Clifford, actor Timothy Bottoms, and singer-songwriter Don McLean on Merv Griffin tonight at 8 on Channel 5. Good morning, this is Chuck Caron reporting the news headlines, sports, and weather from the Channel 5 newsroom. First, let's start off with the international news. A mass exodus of Cambodians into Thailand is expected to get started today. Officials on the Thai side of the border say more than 20,000 people are massing along the frontier preparing to leave Cambodia, which has been the scene of fighting between the old and the new governments. Japan's Kyodo News Service says the top Chinese foreign affairs official left Peking today for peace talks in Hanoi. The talks are an attempt by China and Vietnam to normalize relations, which soured during their border war earlier this year. The newly incorporated American Institute on Taiwan says it will begin operations next Monday in place of the U.S. Embassy in Taipei, which closed March 1st. The institute was created to handle cultural, trade, and non-governmental relations with Taiwan, now that Washington no longer recognizes the nationalist government. Iran's Revolutionary Tribunal sent 5 more ex-government officials to firing squads on Saturday, after executing 10 on Friday. And thousands of Iranians took to the streets of Tehran Friday, some to demonstrate and others to scrub the year's worth of spray-painted slogans off the walls. Turning now to the national news, the Coast Guard says the 11 crew members of the Pride of Baltimore are in no danger at this time. The tall-masted ship, a replica of a 19th century schooner, ran aground and began taking on water in Delaware Bay last night, but the vessel is now afloat again. A spokesman for Eastern Airlines says negotiators for 12,000 Eastern workers, represented by the Machinists' Union, have agreed to a tentative contract. The union's rank and file, which rejected a contract offer last month, will vote on the new one next Friday. An official for the Louisville and Nashville Railroad says repairs on the track and trestle near the Florida Panhandle town of Crestview may be completed today. That will allow trains to move through the area for the first time since an L&N train loaded with dangerous chemicals derailed on Sunday, forcing a temporary evacuation of nearby residents. A federal judge in Portland, Oregon, has turned down a request by Oregon Magazine that he block the CIA from censoring a humorous article about espionage in Uganda. The article contains 16 words the CIA contends would, if published, endanger national security. As for the local news, communications difficulties have thwarted an effort by the New York City Director of Labor Relations, Bruce McKeever, to meet with principal figures in the 48-day-old metropolitan area milk strike. A gathering yesterday afternoon at McKeever's office was scheduled after milk industry executives had visited City Hall during the morning to report on their impasse. McKeever reached out for Willie Whalen, president of the 2,000-member Teamsters Local 584, to invite him to a 4 p.m. meeting at the City Hall Annex, but Whalen spent the day meeting privately with some dealers and touring high friction points to prevent a threat of new clashes with masked police as pickets were inflamed at the site of raw milk being trucked into 2 reopened dairies. A federal official says he expects the New York City milk strike to cost upstate dairymen at least $2.3 million. The figure works out to be about $130 for the average producer. A threatened strike by gasoline delivery men in the metropolitan area is being blamed on management's subcontracting efforts that allegedly have put overweight and unsafe tank trucks in use on Sundays. President of the 800-member Petroleum Trades Employees Union, Richard Lewicki, is charging that some gasoline companies seeking to play it cheap are using bargain rate trucking firms to resupply service stations on Sunday. Motorists along the Garden State Parkway in New Jersey this weekend will be restricted to $3 gasoline prices. Meanwhile, state police on the New Jersey Turnpike say purchases at Exxon stations along the Turnpike are being limited to $6 and $7 depending on the station. In a moment, we'll check on sports, but first, here is Neela Smith with Matchless Players.
Worries about old age.
Non-smoker Maritza Cifre is a senior who thinks the Matchless Players' soft sell is best.
She's just lost 2 teeth.
We are trying to say, like, you shouldn't smoke. Try to think about it, not like don't smoke. We try to help them, in a funny way, to really think twice about smoking cigarettes.
Steve Chaikin, a reformed smoker who coaches the Matchless Players, admits there's no way to measure the group's impact, but he thinks it's on the right track.
They were listening. They drew the type of information that we were hoping they would draw from it.
Tooth fairy early.
And yet they were entertained.
Please forgive me for not brushing my teeth or washing behind my ears. I still don't know where the bathroom is in this place. Oh, and God bless the tobacco industry.
People always make it to sound like that, come on, have a cigarette, like it's really cool. It's not like that anymore. It really isn't. It's like if you want to have a cigarette, it's not even a cool thing to do anymore.
Or could it be that Caron sees fewer smokers around her because they're a little younger?
There's a real tragedy somehow that women who have for so many years been beaten out by the men in smoking, that horror, are suddenly catching up and pulling out ahead, especially in younger ages.
Scare tactics haven't worked on kids, so maybe it's time for a little showbiz. I'm Neela Smith for Today's Woman.
Taking a look at sports, first the New York Yankees today were clobbered by Chicago White Sox 12-2. As for the pro basketball playoffs, first in the first round playoffs, Atlanta 100, Houston 91. Atlanta wins the best-of-3 series 2-0. Philadelphia 111, New Jersey 101. Philadelphia wins the best-of-3 series 2-0. The Los Angeles Lakers 121, Denver 109. Best-of-3 series are now tied at 1 game apiece. And Portland 96, Phoenix 92. The best-of-3 series are tied at 1 game apiece also. Taking a look at the weather forecast, cloudy tonight with chance of rain towards morning, the low around 40. Occasional rain Saturday, ending Saturday night. High Saturday, low in the 50s. In the low 50s to the low Saturday night in the mid-40s. Sunday partly sunny and mild, the high in the mid to upper 60s. We have a current temperature of 40 degrees with the humidity at 96%. Recapping the news, a mass exodus of Cambodians into Thailand is expected to get started today. Japan's Kyodo News Service says the top Chinese foreign affairs official left Peking today for peace talks in Hanoi. The newly incorporated American Institute on Taiwan says it will begin operations next Monday in place of the U.S. Embassy in Taipei, which closed on March 1st. The Coast Guard says the 11 crew members of the Pride of Baltimore are in no danger at this time. The tall-masted ship, a replica of the 19th century schooner, ran aground and began taking on water in the Delaware Bay last night. Again, the weather forecast for Easter Sunday looks like we will have some partly sunny weather, and the temperature will be in the mid to upper 60s. That's the latest news, sports, and weather from the Channel 5 newsroom. Chuck Caron reporting. Now tune in to the Milkman's Matinee on WNEW Radio 1130 on your radio dial, followed by Ted Brown at 6 a.m. Disco singer Linda Clifford guests on the Merv Griffin Show along with model Maud Adams and Timothy Bottoms. Tonight at 8 on Channel 5.
There was a man born of Jewish parents in an obscure village, the child of a peasant woman. He grew up in another obscure village. He worked in a carpenter shop until he was 30, and then for 3 years was an itinerant preacher. He never wrote a book. He never held office. He never owned a home. He never had a family. He never went to college. He never put his foot inside a big city. He never traveled 200 miles from the place where he was born. He never did one of the things that usually accompany greatness. While still a young man, the tide of popular opinion turned against him. His friends ran away. He was turned over to his enemies. He went through the mockery of a trial. His executioners gambled for the only piece of property he had, his coat. When he was dead, he was taken down and laid in a borrowed grave through the pity of a friend. 19 wide centuries have come and gone, and today he is the centerpiece of much of the human race. All the armies that have ever marched, all the navies that ever were built, all the parliaments that ever sat, all the kings that ever reigned put together have not affected the life of man upon the earth as powerfully as has that one solitary life.
This is television station WNEW TV, owned and operated by Metro Media Television, division of Metro Media, transmitting from the Empire State Building, executive offices and studios located at 205 East 67th Street, New York City. WNEW TV operates on an assigned frequency of 76 to 82 megahertz, as authorized by the Federal Communications Commission. Programs and portions of programs presented by this station have been pre-recorded. Programs cannot be rebroadcast or copied without written permission. This is Chuck Caron speaking on behalf of the staff of Metro Media Television, division of Metro Media Incorporated, wishing you a very pleasant good night.